All right. So, does it show somewhere that we're recording? Okay, cool. All right. So this evening, I just want to thank you guys for being on the call. First of all, it's very important to get on these if you can live, especially. It seems to go over a lot better, and then we chat afterwards. So, this evening we're going to talk about developing your why, which is something that is very important in this business and really in life in general. It's important to know why you do what you do and what you want out of life. So a lot of this stuff, as I was writing it all down, it applies to your why, but also set goal setting in general, which we'll go deeper into that maybe the next call or a future call. So when talking about your why, first of all, what is your why? What does that mean when someone says your why? It's something that I never heard of until I got started with Beachbody. So other people may not know. I'm sure you guys do just through personal development, things like that. But if you're new to all of this, your why is the reason you get up every morning and do what you do, which is pretty self-explanatory, and it's your main reason. Also, your long-term vision for success. I have always thought of your why as, before doing this extra research, as a person, place, or thing. I didn't really think of it as a specific goal that you have for the future, but it really can be either. So that's just up to you and your own personal preference. Okay, so why is your why important? Um, Identifying your why is one of the most important things you will do regarding your business. So it's something that you definitely do not want to skip. Don't think that you don't need a why, because you do. I know anything that you try to do in life, whether it be this business or something else, if you don't have focus, and if you don't have something that you're looking at in the future that you're trying to get to, you're not going to be successful. And I know that the most successful people in this business have a very strong purpose, a very strong sense of purpose. And so that's a word that you can really interchange with why. It's also your purpose. So if you've ever done the Purpose Driven Life Bible study, a lot of this goes alongside that. So that's a very good thing to do, also, and you can apply it to the business as well. So don't skip this step. Please do it. How can you know what route to take if you don't know where you're going? That just kind of speaks for itself. So that's a good quote. What should your why look like? I struggled with this. I will be quite honest. When I first became a coach, my coach, Lindsay Stay, she asked me some basic questions at our Getting Started Right call. It was just like, basically what the questions led to: what do you want in your future? What do you want out of life? And I was like, I think I just like made up some things so that I didn't sound stupid, because I really had no earthly idea. No one had ever asked me that, and it's not something I ever thought about. So these are kind of some guidelines of what your why could look like. The more specific you make it, the more powerful it will be. For example, don't say, and this is in goal setting as well and visualization, don't say, I want to make more money. Say, I want to make $500 a week, by this date, even, to make it even more specific. And just always be specific when setting goals, when thinking about your why. And when it first comes to you, it doesn't necessarily have to be that specific, but you can go deeper and deeper into it. Why do I want this for myself? And how exactly do I want it to look? It's kind of like crafting. It's like crafting something and building it as you go. So it may not be that specific at the beginning, but just try to eat away at it and make it as specific as you can. The more you think about it, it needs to be big. So big that it will help you face your fears and become unstoppable. Your why and your purpose it's got to be something huge that is like life or death for you, or something that would change your life 100%. It can't be a small goal, or it's not going to keep you going. So just make sure it's something big and something that you you couldn't let go of or give up on. That's very important. It should move you emotionally and keep you enthusiastic about moving forward. I've seen a lot of times, if your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not your why. I've seen that. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes or no? It said my internet connection was unstable. We're good? Okay. All right. If you can't, just chat box me or something. Let me know if it starts to mess up, and we'll figure something out or not. We don't know what to do about that. Okay. So just make sure that it's something that when you think about it, you don't necessarily have to cry. In my opinion, some people aren't as emotional as others, but it needs to be something that is deep in your heart, something that is, I can't really think of the words to explain it, but something from the heart, not what you think that you should want, not what you think sounds good or what you would tell someone else because they would think that's what you want. What you truly want yourself, and for others, of course, others can be involved, but it has to be what you want, not what someone else wants, or not what someone thinks you should want, or not what you think you should want. Okay, so hope that's clear. I got a little funny on that. I don't know. This is covered up with our video panel, but it says when your why is big enough, you will find your how. So that's another thing. When crafting your why, don't be thinking about, oh, that's impossible because I'd have to do this, 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 and this. The how doesn't come into play when you're thinking of the why. The why comes first, then the how, and you make the why as big as you want it to be. And you don't think about the steps how to get there when you're first creating it. Okay. Here are some examples if you still maybe aren't feeling it or understanding exactly what we mean by that. A college fund for your kids is a good one that people tend to have a lot of times. Pay off debt. We live in a society of debt. Everyone's in debt. Almost everyone's in debt. To be able to pay off your debt and then only purchase things that you can afford from here on out is an amazing feeling. I'm sure I'm not completely there yet. I mean, I just have my mortgage and one car, but I've been paying off things, and every time I pay something off, it just feels amazing because the government, man, I'm not going to get into like a discussion about the man, but these interest rates and things, I mean, it's just killing us. It is killing us, the amount of money that you spend in interest when you owe someone, credit cards and all of that. So paying off debt is a huge one, and it seems small maybe, but that changes a lot of people's lives. So I can see why that's one of them. Just to be more self-reliant. A lot of times people are tired of relying on someone else. I've seen a lot of women that are tired of relying on their husband, and they want to contribute as well to the household. Or maybe they're single and they just want to be able to go it alone. That's good too. A retirement fund. A lot of the places that you work nowadays don't offer any sort of retirement or anything like that. My generation is not guaranteed to get anything that we've been paying into all of our lives when we reach the age of needing it. So it's important to have a plan for that. So that's a good one too. For me, honestly, when I first started, I had a why, and now I can't even remember what it was. So I'm sure it was one of these things, but that's something we'll discuss later on. But one of my main goals that I should add here is just to be able to stay home with my daughter. And y'all see me talk about that a lot. Now it is one of my goals to be able to help other moms do that. I've worked for a very good company who was really understanding. There were a lot of moms there, and if Era was ever sick, man, they didn't make me feel guilty about having to take off or anything like that. They would say, go take care of your daughter. I was very fortunate because I know places that I had worked prior to that, before I had a child, would not have been so generous. And I appreciate that. At the same time, I worked alongside so many moms that I know would have preferred to stay home. And so I reach out to those people as often as I can. That's kind of my goal audience or my target, that's huge to me for someone to be able to stay home with their child, because I was able to do it. Not something I ever thought possible, and it means the world to me. So you guys see me talk about that all the time, but that's a really good one too. To be able to bring your husband home from work as well is a huge one. I know my coach, Lindsay, her and her husband both are full-time Beachbody coaches, and that's just what they do. So every day they wake up together and, have family time. And I'm sure they have, things that they have to do and responsibilities and whatnot. But that's pretty cool. That's one of my goals now, is to get Michael home. And I can't really imagine, it still hasn't sunk into me that I don't have to get up and go to work every day. And I have been retired since October, so it hasn't been that long. But to add him to the equation would just be craziness. I don't know. We'd just be staring at each other like, so what do you want to do? We'd probably be laying on the couch for a solid week before we ever got out of the house. Okay, how to develop your why. This is important. And one thing that really helps is to ask yourself these questions. If time and money were not an issue, how would my life look? And that is huge, man. If you take time and money out of the equation, that opens up many doors, all kinds of possibilities. And that's what we're working towards here, building this business and trying to gain financial freedom. Once you get there, money is no longer an issue, and time isn't either, because we spend the majority of our lives at work when we're in the workforce. There's never time. There's never time to do anything when you work full time. The majority of your life, I saw a statistic once, I can't remember what the percentage is, but it is a huge percentage of your life that you spend at work when you work full time for your whole life. And so time becomes not an issue as well. I know that it was a huge change for me just to be like, I wouldn't even realize it was Friday or Saturday, because I didn't work Monday, Tuesday. Every day is free, and I get to schedule these fun activities with my kids and stuff. So anyways, if time and money were not an issue, how would my life look? That is something that a lot of people don't think about ever. And also I want to add, I don't have it in the slides here, but part of developing your why is to really physically shut everything off, sit down in a quiet room by yourself and think about what it is that you want. Because to be completely honest, until Beachbody, I never did. It's just not something that I ever thought about, not something that ever occurred to me. No one ever asked me that before. And I learned through visualization and meditation and things like that, that sitting in the quiet by yourself, you will learn so many things, that because our minds are just so busy and hectically, I don't know if that's a word or not, but just 90 to nothing. Hectically, is that a word? Sounds weird. Anyways, our minds, just thoughts firing off nonstop. And if you really relax, sit down, shut everything off, no phone, no TV, no computer, no radio, no family members, just by yourself, and think about it, lots of stuff will come to the surface that you didn't even realize, because you're just too busy to realize what it is that you want. So that is so important. I can't stress it enough. Just find the time, take the time and do that. Because like I said earlier, how in the world are you going to know what steps to take if you don't know what you're working towards? Always have to know what you're working towards. Where would I live? What would I do with my days? So if you didn't have to go to work and you had plenty of money, what would you do with your days? That should just open up endless possibilities. But you have to think about what would truly make your heart happy. And that goes along with finding your purpose. Okay. Now also remember that your why can change and grow as you go along. That's something that I learned in the business. This is my screensaver on my work computer. So whenever I'm working on my Beachbody stuff, I see this. and like I said, when I first started out, I chose a why, and I can't even remember what it was now. And my life changed dramatically from the time I started until now. And I have my daughter, and she became my why. And I don't know, that seems a little cheesy or whatnot, but it's more specific than just I do this for my daughter. It's that it started with I want to be able to be home with her and spend time with her and not miss out on every little thing that she does and not have to pass her off every morning to into loving arms, but not my arms, and have her get attached to other people just as much as she is to me because I'm working all the time. And I did have to do that in the beginning, and it was very hard. But it honestly was a true example of how your why is what drives you, because while I was working full time, I built my business to the point where I didn't have to. And I hear it all the time about not having time to do this and that. And it's just hard because I'm like, yeah, I stay at home now, but I did work full time. And if your why is big enough, like it's supposed to be, then that's not going to stump you. Nothing. So the reason my why is my daughter now, I'm already staying home with her, is because I want so much for her. And like any mother would, I just want her to have the world. I don't ever want her to have to worry or miss out on any opportunities. I want her to have every opportunity in the world. And there is nothing that I would not do for my daughter. And that's how big your why has to be. There can't be anything that would stand in your way of your why, stand in the way of your why. And that's how I feel about Era. So when it comes to, man, I really don't want to message that person again. Okay, well, I'm doing it for my daughter. My daughter or this person who might get annoyed by me. My daughter or how I look on Facebook to some strangers that want to make comments or whatever. And that's something that you can do for everything. My daughter, or sleeping in a little bit and not doing what I was supposed to do, or not getting on the team call, or not taking the steps that the leaders in the business have told us to take in order to be successful. So that's how big your why has to be. And it can change. Like I said, she was not my why in the beginning. And when my why did change, everything changed. So I feel like I kind of grew into it. And when I had a why that was big enough, I made things happen that I didn't before. So I had a firsthand experience with why the why is so important. Why the why? Why the why is so important. So anyways, just wanted to share that with you guys. And all right, so you've got your why. Now what do you do with it? We've talked a little bit about this already. For one thing, you share it. Share your why along with all of your goals and dreams with others to keep yourself accountable. So, this goes along with goal setting and things like that. We're all about accountability. Accountability is a real live thing. It works. It works in our challenge groups. It works when you're goal setting, and it works with your why. So share it with the world. I can and I will. Watch me. So that's pretty cool. When it gets hard, so I was kind of talking about already, use your why when it gets hard. All entrepreneurs face ups and downs. When things get hard, remind yourself of why you were doing this. Never forget why you started. So like I said, anytime things get hard, and we've all had our ups and downs, maybe have a picture like I do. So when I'm working, I always see that. Something to remind you of why you're doing this so that you'll be inspired to push forward. Break it down. Some people have a why that is so huge that it gets a little overwhelming, and it actually becomes more of a demotivator than a motivator. So if your why is super huge, if it seems so big that it becomes overwhelming, break it down into achievable goals and make sure to celebrate the small successes along the way. And that's a good idea anyways. We're all about goal setting. So when goal setting, make sure that it leads you to your why. And the best way to do that is to work backwards. You have your why, and then you work on your how steps. And it's so important to celebrate those small successes along the way. Okay. Use it when sharing the business. When you talk to other people about becoming a Beachbody coach or challenge groups, talk about your why. Why you do it. People don't buy into what you are doing, they buy into why you are doing. So that's why you would share your why with people that you talk to about the business. Okay? So, in conclusion, the why is very important. I hope I got that across. If you don't have one, get one today. As soon as you have a chance, take that time for yourself and sit down and think about what it is you want out of life and make it fun. It can be so much fun developing your why and thinking about the future and everything that's possible and knowing that it's possible. I hope soon to talk about visualization, because that's something that has meant the world to me, and that's the most fun part of all of this. So yeah, that's all I have. I'm gonna stop recording.